Hey fangirls and boys, this is Natalie and you're watching Whole Lotta Love, and in today's video we are trying out the new Hourglass Curator eyeshadows. So I picked this up at Beautylish. This is a curated by me, the shades were chosen by me, a 5 shadow palette. So I picked a bunch of jewel tones over here, and you can see the palette it's like a tin packaging. It's very nice, it's very sleek. I think that the presentation is pretty nice. The big thing is, are these eyeshadows worth it, considering that they are astronomically expensive? So one single, but if you buy a case for one single, it's $39. If you buy a trio case with 3 shadows, it's $99 or $100, and then this came out to $161, which is insanely pricey for 5 eyeshadows. You know, I was definitely curious to try them. I definitely really like the presentation of them, and it's always fun to pick out your own shades and kind of come up with your own color story. I just went for a super smoky jewel tone moment. Groundbreaking, but based on the shades in the range, which I'll talk about a little more later, there's not much groundbreaking stuff you can do, so I definitely picked more colorful shades in the range. And I put together this eyeshadow look. I tried these for the first time in the video. If you are interested in seeing how these eyeshadows apply and seeing my thoughts on the quality and seeing if, you know, I think they're worth it, if you are interested in that, then keep on watching. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I've already done my brows and I prime my lids with concealer, which I do pretty regularly. And I'm going to bust into my Hourglass Curator eyeshadow palette that I picked out the different shades. So I'll show you what the packaging looks like. So this is what the packaging looks like. I have to say it is very sleek. It's like a tin packaging, but it has a good amount of weight to it, not overly weighted, but it does have a mirror inside. And these are the eyeshadows. I've left one empty so that I can kind of show you the process of getting it in there. So these, it's not a magnetic system. They kind of snap in. And you can also kind of see here, I guess they kind of have them raised like that so that they're easy to take out, although I don't know how easy these can be taken out because they were pretty hard to put in. But I will show you with this last shade here. See, it's already hard to get out of the plastic. So this is what the pan looks like. You can see the pan is pretty thick, which, you know, is kind of different. It's definitely something I haven't seen before. I did notice that these eyeshadows only have 0.03 ounces in them, which is like basically mini shadows, which is basically a travesty. For the price, I definitely think they should have been full size, and I was definitely naive in, you know, assuming that these would be full size eyeshadows for the price. As soon as I looked at that, I was really shocked, to be honest. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna snap this in to the palette so we can kind of see how that works. So you kind of just like put it in like that, and then you snap it in. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the look. I'm gonna take this shade in the middle, which is just like a kind of mid-tone transition shade. I don't have the name of it, but I will list it on the screen. And I'm gonna take, this is the Morphe and Madison Beer. This is just a medium, very fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna take this above my crease. There's a decent amount of kick up in the pan. And I have to say, this mirror doesn't really feel securely in there. You can kind of hear that, which, you know, should not be the case for the price of this. The eyeshadow's looking pretty good so far. Again, I usually feel like the first shade you lay down is usually pretty decent, especially over a tacky base. But it's decently pigmented and it's blending out decently. Okay, so that's what we have going for the first shade. I think that performed just fine. And now I'm going to go into this blue shade that I popped in. This shade is called Yet. And I'm going to take my Linda Hallberg, this is the 303 small blending brush. I'm just going to put this in the crease. So you can see that's a pretty color and it is performing pretty well. It's not looking patchy, it's blending out pretty decently. It's a nice tone of blue. Just gonna blend out the edges a little bit with that brownie lighter transition shade that we used at the beginning, using the same Morphe Madison Beer brush. So this is what we have going so far. The shadows, they perform decently, they perform nicely. They're smooth, pigmented. I'm just gonna put a little bit on the outer edge over here of the blue. Nothing groundbreaking, but you know, pretty good. No problems. Thank God for that price. So yeah, we're looking pretty good here, and I'm gonna go on the lid. I'm gonna use this Unicorn Cosmetics. This is the UC9 brush, and I'm just gonna go into this shimmery deep purple shade. This is called Fig. I'm gonna put this on my lid, and I'm gonna start dry and then probably wet the brush. I just wanna see how it looks dry on the lid. So this is the eyeshadow dry in the lid, the shimmer shade Fig. And I think that that looks really pretty. It's a light, shimmery, it's a sophisticated look. It's nothing that's overly pigmented or overly glittery or just like too textured or anything like that. It looks very smooth, but it definitely has a nice, pretty sheen on the lid. And the pigment is just right for what it is. Now I'm just going to put another layer of that, but I'm going to wet my brush. So that added a little bit more of a sheen, but it doesn't completely transform the eyeshadow. Yeah, no, I like it both wet and dry. It definitely looks a little more sheeny when it's wet, so it's not like it didn't do anything or it started to lift the eyeshadow or anything like that. It looks good both ways, and then dry, it's just a lighter, sheeny, lighter, shimmery sheen kind of thing going on. So this is what we have going so far. It's pretty, but you know, nothing groundbreaking. I'm gonna go back into the shade Yet, the navy blue shade at the end, and I'm just gonna re-deepen that outer edge. I'm just blending out a little more with that mid-toned brown shade that we started with. Blending out those edges a little more. Okay, so this is what we have going so far. Again, it looks nice, but I'm definitely not blown away at all by this look. I'm gonna go into this cranberry shade, which is called Pow, and I'm gonna put that more on the inner part of the lid. I'm gonna use this BH Cosmetics Smoke Brush from the Say It Out Loud collection. And again, I'm just gonna start drying. If I need to wet it, I'll wet it, but usually in the inner, I don't like it too metallic. So we're just gonna kind of start. You can see that right there. Very similar to the Fig shade, to the purple shade that we laid down as far as consistency goes. I like it in the inner part of the lid. It adds a little bit of a pop. So I think Pow is a pretty good name for it. Again, it's a very smooth shadow. Decently shimmery, not super metallic, but not really satin either. It's kind of somewhere right in the middle. I don't think I'll wet it just because I don't like the inner corner to be super metallic, although I don't think it'll build that much. But I think this is fine. So this is the upper lid's pretty much done. I don't think I'm gonna do a wing or anything like that. I don't have a ton of time, and I think this is good. I think this just kind of shows what the eyeshadows look like on their own. And again, pretty, but I'm not blown away. The shadows performed pretty well overall. And these are all really nice jewel tones. I'm really happy with my picks in terms of the colors I picked for the palette, but I don't think that they really pop in any particularly special way. They definitely are pigmented enough, and there's definitely a nice smoky jewel toned effect on my eyes, but it's nothing super colorful, and especially for using as these tones, you would think you would get something a little more colorful, but again, they don't look muddy together. The colors all do really mesh well together for like a nice smoky jewel toned eye. So this is fine. I am going to line my waterline. I'm just going to use this Urban Decay. This is their shadow stick in the shade Digitized. It's like a metallic slate gray with like a bluish duochrome to it. I'm just going to line my waterline with this. I am going to conceal and do my foundation and my face makeup, and I will be back to finish the eyes. Okay, this is the complexion done: blush, highlighter, foundation, concealer. I'm actually going to try mascara I haven't tried. This is the Marc Jacobs At Lashed mascara. It has a nice kind of natural bristly but kind of thin wand. Just putting this on the upper lashes. I feel like this is a pretty quick to go type of look. I'm not doing any of the extras like curling my lids or priming my curling my eyelashes or priming my eyelashes with anything. And the makeup is very basic on the face. I'm not doing any kind of winged eyeliner or anything like that. This is, I guess this is kind of how you would use Hourglass products, just kind of like out the door. So I think that this works with the vibes. Just don't have a ton of time either. That's the mascara. I think that mascara looks pretty good. I like this wand. I love this packaging. It's like this gold and black stripes. Okay, so that's the mascara. I am going to finish the lower lash line. I'm going to take this shade here, which is a green metallic that's called Eve. I'm just going to take that and run that on my lower lash. I'm going to do that wet so that I don't have eyeshadow everywhere, and I'm just using a very small pencil brush. This is the Unicorn Cosmetics UC11 brush. Yeah, so it says that this shade is a shimmer, whereas the other two shades, the purple and the cranberry, are metallics. So I guess I could see why they would call it metallic. I don't think it's overly metallic. I'm curious to see how this one looks a little bit more glittery. The Eve shade, I definitely noticed that different finish right away, which is why I looked to see what the finishes were that were listed. So I'm just coating my brush, and I'm just gonna wet the brush. I'm just gonna run this on my lower lash. So that's what we have going so far. I'll definitely blend that out more. I definitely noticed like little glitter particles in this one, which looks pretty, and I'm very curious to see how that would look on the lid itself. I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics Smoke Brush, and I'm just going to blend out that lower lash. So this is the lower lash line blended out, very smoky. I have a very nice smoky jewel tone look overall. And I'm just going to finish the look, the eye look, with mascara on the lower lash. So this is the eyes done. I think that they look pretty. It's definitely a nice smoky look. I didn't have any problems with the performance of any of the shades. Everything was pigmented, everything blended out nicely. Overall, the formula is pretty good. For me, it's just the tones, especially with the way it looks in the pan. I feel like all together, you know, you do see the colors. They are true to color, so to speak, but it's nothing that really pops. It's not like a super metallic jewel tone look. It's just like a nice, pretty smoky, kind of muted jewel tone look. And I feel like most of the shadows in this line kind of fall in this range, right? Like they came out with about 40 eyeshadows, I want to say. But there's nothing super impactful. There's nothing super warm. There's nothing super grungy or anything like that, which, you know, definitely makes sense for Hourglass. Everything kind of stays, you know, in the more muted territory, more neutral when possible. You know, there's a little bit of warm and a little bit of cool. I think I went a little more cool with this palette. You know, they definitely do have some warm shades, but nothing really is really intense. Everything's a little more muted. I am just going to finish with lips, and again, doing a very super easy lip. This is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics. This is the lip balm in the shade Bloodstain. Okay, so this is the completed look. It's a very cute look. Nice smoky eye, a little pop on the lips. Everything's a little bit muted, nothing too crazy, so there's like a, you know, an air of sophistication to it. As I was saying, I think that this palette is good for someone who wants, you know, just like very high quality but very wearable colors, or these eyeshadows in general. Definitely more for, you know, the kind of person who doesn't necessarily collect a lot of makeup, but really, you know, prides themselves on having those beautiful staple luxury pieces in their collection. For me, you know, this isn't like a super impressive palette just because, you know, I do have so many different eyeshadows, and I do work with eyeshadows with like a lot of pigment and a lot of texture and impact, brightness, things like that. But I can see how this is a good formula. I definitely don't think it's worth the price, especially not for the 0.3 ounce mini pans, but it is pretty and it's cool that you get to pick your shades, and I do like the look, and I think that the eyeshadows perform well. Anyway, that completes this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and have a good one. Bye guys.